I just wanted to say, as a point of clarification, whatever enthusiasm I expressed several years ago in the aftermath of the George Floyd tragedy, as well as in the aftermath of what we have, um, uh, the tragedy of Mario Gonzalez, um, the enthusiasm was about a program that the mayor had brought forward, which was Cahoots, which has subsequently become the CARE program. I'm very sure that that was the reform about which I was very enthusiastic. In light of the city charter violations discussion of 2017 that was finally concluded with a grand jury recommendations that city council ultimately adopted in 2019, I was very weary of anything having to do of council interposing itself on administrative matters that are rightfully the duty of a department head, including the chief of police. So I just want to make sure that, I don't want anyone to leave tonight saying that I supported wholeheartedly the policies that are being referred to now, which are the subject of tonight, where we want to undo those policies. I did not support those policies, but because they were packaged in conjunction with, recommendations with regard to the Cahoots at the time, which ultimately became CARE, on the whole, and I'm pretty sure I said this, on the whole, there was a lot more good being done within the reform that ultimately came forward. I didn't support everything in the reform matters, and I, above all, was very leery of any policies that subsequently were adopted having to do with the council interposing itself on matters that are rightfully the city managers and the department heads, in this case, the chief of police. And so that's where we are tonight. The chief of police is basically saying, I mean, in a nutshell, what he's saying is he would like us to return to what's in the city charter. And what's in the city charter is that under 7-1 is that it's the city manager who is the chief administrative officer. And I believe under 7-2, it is the city manager who gives direction and discipline and administrative oversight of the department heads, including the chief of police, who, as we had earlier heard, was hired by the city manager at the time, Eric Levitt, and is managed today by interim city manager Nancy Bronstein. But it's not just 7-1 or 7-2 that's implicated, but it's also 7-3. And the relevant portions of 7-3 of the charter is this, and let me read it. Neither the city council nor any member, including the mayor, shall give orders to any subordinates under the jurisdiction of the city manager or such other officers, either publicly, and this is a public meeting, either publicly or privately, nor shall they attempt to coerce or interfere directly or indirectly with the city manager or such other officers. So we adopted the policies that the chief of police is now requesting that we move away from. We adopted those policies in the aftermath of the tragedies that I spoke of, and we adopted them with eyes wide open, but we also adopted them knowing, at least some of us on council, knowing that they weren't really consistent with what was in the charter. So if you want to have these policies, continue, then I would say change the charter. Change the charter that allows the city council to directly give orders to the chief of police, because right now the city charter says that we have to work through the city manager. And I believe that's the correct chain of command, because at the end of the day, this is a city manager form of government in which ordinary residents such as ourselves, each 5 of us here, we're no different from the people who spoke this evening on this matter. We're just like you, where ordinary residents get an opportunity to weigh in on, you know, professionally run city with people with substantial expertise at certain departments, including the police. And that's the city manager form of government that we have, this policy setting body called the city council, through as indicated in the charter, gives direction to the city manager. And the city manager, she or he, then administers the departments. And I think that, you know, I recognize everything that Chief of Police Joshi said tonight about, you know, operational efficiencies. But I think it's more than that, though. I think it's really about the charter form of government that we have and the importance of keeping an arm's distance of separation between council and the department heads, making sure that we always work through the city manager, whoever she is or whoever he is. And I think that's the crux of the matter. And I would like us to return, when it comes to, you know, how our police functions, I would like us to return to that model. You know, we kind of temporarily for the past 18 months, 24 months, you know, moved away from it, you know, but I think now it's time to get back to the way in which our charter says we should be operating, which is thoroughly through the city manager. Thank you.